Hello everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are talking about some new releases for 2026. So I always do my new releases quarterly, otherwise there are too many to talk about. And we find out when new things are going to be released throughout the year anyway. So for today's video, we're talking about January, February, and March. We are already in the middle of January. This is coming out a little bit late. I try and do things before the month happens. Too busy in December. It did not happen. But I do have 23 titles that are coming out in the next 3 months, so January, February, March, that I wanted to talk about. These are things that I am very excited for. If I have missed anything that you think I should be aware of, please let me know down below. But basically, yeah, 23 titles, and we're gonna run right on through them. I don't remember all of the summaries off the top of my head, so we are gonna be reading them off of Goodreads. And so, starting on January 6th, which is already passed, obviously, but there was one book coming out, which was called Playing for Keeps by Alexandria Bellafleur. Poppy Peterson's life is finally back on track, and she's thriving as the publicist of the NFL's most promising quarterback, and her childhood best friend, Cash Curran. So she doesn't appreciate when he makes an impulsive and public pass at America's pop star darling, Lyric Adair. When Lyric's notorious publicist Rosaline Sinclair reaches out, Poppy is ready to face her wrath, but instead learns that Lyric is equally interested. As Cash and Lyric embark on their ill-advised whirlwind romance, Poppy and Rosaline are forced together, each determined to protect their own client from the other. Poppy is frustrated by Rosaline's cool demeanor, while at the same time, as a legend in the industry, she's determined to impress her. But no matter what she does, she can't shake the feeling that Rosaline doesn't like her. That is until one steamy night when the two women contend with their unexpected feelings and begin a messy romance of their own. But with paparazzi, tabloids, and stalker fans nipping at their heels, Poppy and Rosaline's loyalties will be tested in ways they could never expect. Then we're going to be moving to January 13th, which just passed this week, and I have one book coming out on this date as well, which is A Vow in Vengeance by Jacqueline Rodriguez. I actually already have a copy from Allurial, so I'm very excited for this book, as you can see. And this one says, Rune Riker has nothing left to lose. Everything's been stolen by the Immortals, her family, her home, her freedom, but she's done playing by their rules. Each year, humans are forced to journey into the immortal realms, but 21-year-old Rune orchestrates her own selection, determined to find her family and destroy anyone who stands in her way. Rune is used to doing whatever it takes to survive, and now she must endure the Forge, a cutthroat college for the immortal druid's elusive tarot magic. When Rune's magic reveals itself to be the rarest and most powerful, she must live with its only other wielder, Prince Draven. As arrogant as he is ruthlessly ambitious, he's the last person she can trust. Rune's abilities also draw the eyes of the most dangerous druids in the realms. Some want to use her, more want her dead. Draven offers to train her for a price. As Rune becomes ensnared in Draven's dangerous games, she learns there are secrets at the heart of her kingdom that some will kill to protect. And Rune and Draven's growing attraction may be the spark to ignite a brewing war. They also have tropes on here, which are enemies to lovers, fake dating / fake fated mates, which is intriguing, coming of age, and there's only one bed. Okay, now getting into the things that have not come to pass already, I have 3 books coming out on January 20th. The first is Next Level Love by Shamiz Patel. Elizabeth Gordon Betancourt is rebuilding her life on her own terms, starting with a new internship, a shot at her dream job as a civil engineer, and a whole lot of distance from her family's drama. With her life full of change, the one constant is At the Answer is No, a charming gamer who seems to just get her, even if he has no interest in meeting her in real life. Elizabeth would feel a lot more confident about her job if her new boss wasn't so hard to read. Lincoln Carden is quiet, demanding, and adamant about avoiding small talk, especially in the office. What she doesn't know is that online, he's someone else entirely, quick, confident, and a little bit flirty. And his favorite player to team up with is At Pancakes Are Elite, the one person who never makes him feel like he has to try so hard. As their two worlds start to collide, Elizabeth and Lincoln start to wonder, with their careers on the line and their online friendship at risk, is a romance in real life worth it? They did put IRL, worth it. In real life. I am very intrigued by this because I actually read the first book by this author last year, Playing Flirty. We have that geeky sort of romance type of stuff. I'm really intrigued by this one. The next one we have is How to Lose a Goblin in 10 Days by Jessie Silva. So this is supposed to be a cozy fantasy romance between a halfling and a goblin that is supposed to like take place in the cozy scenes from like the Shire from Lord of the Rings. It says, when a halfling, Pansy, and a goblin, Wren, each think they've inherited the same cottage, they make a bargain. They'll live in the house together, and whoever is driven out first forfeits their ownership. Amidst forced proximity and cultural misunderstandings, the two begin to fall in love. But when the cottage and their communities are threatened by a common enemy, the duo must learn to trust each other and convince goblins and halflings to band together to oust the tall intruder. And then the last one coming out on this day is The Elsewhere Express by Samantha Sato Yambao. You can't buy a ticket for the Elsewhere Express. Appearing only to those whose lives are adrift, it's a magical train carrying very rare and special cargo, a sense of purpose, peace, and belonging. Raya is one of those lost souls. She had dreamed of being a songwriter, but when her brother died, she gave up on her dream and started living his instead. One day on the subway, as her thoughts wander, she's swept off to the Elsewhere Express. There she meets Q, a charming, handsome artist who, like her, has lost his place in the world. Together they find a train full of wonders, from a boarding car that's also a meadow, to a dining car where passengers can picnic on lily pads, to a bar where jellyfish and whales swim through pink clouds. But they also discover that the train harbors secrets and danger. A mysterious stranger has stowed away and brought with him a dark, malignant magic that threatens to destroy the train. But in investigating the stowaway's identity, Raya also finds herself drawing closer to the ultimate question. What is her life's true purpose, and might Q be connected to it? Then moving on to January 27th, there are also 3 books releasing on this date. The first is Silver and Blood by Jessie Mihalik. There's something in the woods. Untrained and barely armed, Riella reluctantly agrees to enter the forest and kill the deadly beast that has been attacking her fellow villagers, as she's the only mage available. Or so she thought. When one beast turns into 2, she fears her death is at hand, but unexpected aid from a scarred, strikingly handsome man with dangerous moonlit magic means a second chance at life, and an opportunity to learn more about her own fickle power. After being rescued and healed from her fight in the forest, Riella awakens in a magical castle complete with a gorgeous library, a strange wolf, and the surly man who saved her life. Riella soon learns Garrick is not a mortal mage at all. He's a powerful, ethereal sovereign who has been locked out of his kingdom in Loka for nearly a century, and his powers are weakening. Trapped in his castle and surrounded by the treacherous woods, the spark of attraction between Riella and Garrick slowly ignites into fiery desire. But the more they discover about Riella's magic, the more suspicious Garrick grows of her identity. As they unravel the secrets connecting Riella's past to Loka, the tenuous threads of trust between them begin to fray, because Riella's life, or her death, might be the key to regaining everything Garrick has lost. Then we also have The Redo List by Denise Williams. Willow experienced all her big firsts with her high school sweetheart. Now reeling from their very public breakup, she wants to get a redo on those important moments. While dog-sitting for her brother during his deployment, she has a chance to start over, and spending time with his best friend gives her the confidence to start checking items off her redo list. Deacon promised his best friend 2 things when Cruz left: that he would look out for Willow and that he would keep his hands off Cruz's baby sister. Operation Redo is innocent enough, as Deacon likes Willow and he's willing to help her out in any way he can. But when the list of firsts turns from a first dance to first kisses and more, Deacon can't deny the connection he feels to Willow. As Deacon's and Willow's firsts turn to seconds, thirds, and fourths, this pair can't get enough of each other, and they support each other through new challenges. But they are both aware there's an end date to Willow's time in town, and even if she were to stay, Deacon doesn't know how to choose between his loyalty to his closest friend and the woman he's fallen in love with. With no more romantic moments on her list for them to redo, can these two still find a way to stay together? And then we also have Last First Kiss by Julian Winters. They say you never forget your first kiss, but Jordan Carter wishes he could forget the one he shared with Jamie Peters as teens, and the one they almost shared again last year before Jamie made it clear he wasn't the right man for Jordan to be with while he's figuring himself out. Now Jordan's fully focused on his career at 24 Carter Gold, his family's event planning company, and ready to move on, until his boss assigns him to plan a new client's high-profile wedding. The bride's man of honor, none other than Jamie. As things ramp up the closer they get to the wedding, so does Jordan's relationship with Jamie, with sarcastic asides turning into steamy hookups. But can Jordan afford to pursue Jamie if he's still unsure who he is? Or is knowing who he loves enough? Venue shopping, cake tastings, and dress fittings with the man he can't forget just might change the man Jordan Carter is meant to become. Okay, then we're going to be moving into February. On February 3rd, there are 5 books releasing. The first is Until the Clock Strikes Midnight by Alicia Dow. And this is supposed to be The Good Place meets the Brandy version of Cinderella, which means I am officially sold. Darling is the most talented and unusual guardian to get a chance at winning the coveted once-in-a-generation Mortal Outcome Council mentorship. Getting the spot would mean having the opportunity to shape the future happiness of all mortal realms. If she succeeds at her first assignment, Lucy Adelsberg. Darling thinks it'll be an easy razzle-dazzle job until she actually meets Lucy. Her life is a complete mess, from her failing bookshop in her downtrodden village to her doomed flirtation with the Princess of Lumina. But if there's one thing Darling's good at, it's a makeover. Calamity is the most talented and arrogant misfortune of his class. It's his job to save mortals from their own terrible decisions made in the pursuit of the mythical happily ever after. When Calam is granted a shot at the Mortal Outcome Council mentorship, he thinks his dreams are finally coming true. But first, he must pass the test. It should be easy. Lucy Adelsberg has been unfortunate for years. All he has to do is continue her string of bad luck so she can finally come to terms with reality and settle for a safer, more logical path in life. Yet when he arrives, he finds that Lucy has a guardian assigned to her too, a chipper overachiever who is as colorful as the magic pouring from her glittery wand. To thwart each other, Darling and Calam insert themselves into Lucy's life, posing as a betrothed couple. As they try to guide her down what they each see as the best path for her, they start questioning their roles and ultimately what they truly want for themselves. And if those feelings of loathing they have for each other might actually be something more like love. Then we also have The Forest on the Edge of Time by Jasmine Kirkbride. Recruited by the mysterious Project Kairos to change history and save the future from ecological disaster, Echo and Hazel are transported through time to opposite worlds. Echo works as a healer's assistant in ancient Athens, embroiled in dangerous politics and wild philosophy. Hazel is the last human alive in a laboratory on a polluted island with nothing but tiny robots and an untrustworthy AI for company. Both women suffer from amnesia, but when they fall asleep, their consciousness transcends time and they meet in their dreams. Together they start to uncover their past, but soon discover the past threatens humanity's survival. If Echo and Hazel have a chance of changing the future, they must remember to forget. Then we also have Queen of Faces by Petra Lord. Annabelle Gage is trapped in a male body, and it's rotting from the inside out. In Kaimor, where the magical elite buy and swap designer bodies like clothes, Anna can't afford to escape her tattered form. When she fails the entrance exam to the prestigious Paragon Academy, her last hope of entering a new body implodes. As the clock ticks down to her last breath, she's forced to use her illusion magic to steal a healthy chassis before her own kills her. But Anna is caught by none other than the headmaster of Paragon Academy, who poses a brutal ultimatum: face execution for her crime or become a mercenary at his command. Revolt brews in Kaimor's smog-choked underworld, and the wealthy and powerful will stop at nothing to take down the rebels and the infamous Dark Witch at their helm, the Black Wraith. With no choice but to accept, Anna will steal, fight, and kill her way to salvation. But her survival depends on a dangerous band of an impulsive assassin, a brooding bomb maker, and an alluring exile who might just spell her ruin. As Anna is drawn into a tangled web of secrets, the line between villain and hero shatters, and Anna must decide which side is worth dying for. Then we also have Here Lie All the Boys Who Broke My Heart by Emma Simmerman. Every time a guy breaks my heart, I write him a eulogy in my journal. It's kind of my thing. Closure through creative mourning. They don't actually die. Or at least they didn't. Now, these guys aren't just dead to me, they're dead to everyone, and I'm the prime suspect. With my senior year at Pembroke College and my entire future on the line, I've got no choice but to play detective. Unfortunately, that means teaming up with my long-standing frenemy Asher, who is insufferable and somehow always there when I need him the least. We bicker, we banter, we occasionally almost hook up, but with the body count rising and my name all over the suspect board, there's no time to get distracted. Between college parties, messy exes, suspicious deaths, and a murder investigation I never asked to be a part of, one thing's for certain, this is not how I thought my last year would go. Here's to hoping I can find out who the real killer is before someone ends up writing my eulogy. And then the last one for this date is Apparently Sir Cameron Needs to Die by Greer Stothers. All his life, Sir Cameron has stayed as far away from danger as possible. He is, quite frankly, too handsome to die a violent and pointless death in battle. But when the church hands down a prophecy to his fellow knights predicting that the only way to defeat their nemesis, the mad sorcerer Marullo, is to kill Cameron, he finds himself in a situation too sticky for even his considerable wiles. Short of ideas, Cameron throws himself on the mercy of the one person who now actually wants him to survive, the mad sorcerer. Marullo isn't thrilled to be babysitting a spoilt, attention-seeking knight, but fate has tied them together. and transmogrifying Cameron into a vulture is at least a great source of entertainment. Cameron, meanwhile, is on a voyage of self-discovery. It turns out he is really into surly sorcerers who lock him up and tell him what to do. Who knew? As a legion of knights surround their stronghold, the sorcerer's poisonous ambitions draw ever closer to fruition. Cameron is quite invested in not dying, but he finds he is also invested in Marullo, and sometimes supporting the sorcerer you care about means taking an interest in their hobbies. Even if that hobby is trying to kill God. Even if it might get you killed too. Okay, then we're going to be moving on to February 10th. There are 4 books releasing on this date. The first is The Midnight Taxi by Yosha Gunasekera. Siriwathi Pereira doesn't quite know where she's going in life. She never expected to be a taxi cab driver in New York City, struggling to make ends meet and still living with her parents at 28. The true crime podcasts that keep Siri company as she drives don't do much to make up for the legal career she imagined for herself or the brother she's grieving. When public defender Amaya Fernando gets into her cab, they make a quick connection through their shared Sri Lankan roots. Siri, whose social circle is limited to her grade school best friend Alex, thinks things might finally be looking up with this new potential friendship. But she's suddenly dropped into her own true crime when she discovers her next passenger murdered in the back seat, and she has to call Amaya sooner than she expected. Pinned as the obvious and only suspect and desperate to clear her name, Siri chases down leads across the boroughs of New York City with Amaya's help. But with her court date looming, they have just 5 days to find out who really killed the midnight passenger, or Siri's life will be over before she can even truly live it. Then we also have Red Star Rebels by Amy Kaufman. It's 2067 and the Graves family has transformed Mars from lifeless rock into a chaotic patchwork of settlements, and everybody wants a piece. Enter Hunter Graves, handsome, ambitious, and with spectacularly bad timing. He shows up at the United Nations base just as an emergency evacuation sends everyone scurrying for safety, except he's left behind. Uh-oh. Also stranded, Cleo, a sharp-tongued stowaway with no intention of dying today, and even less patience for overconfident, trust-fund boys. But the enemy of your enemy might just help you survive, so here we are. Turns out the evacuation was just a cover for the mercenaries who came next, and they plan to blow up the base and every trace of their crime in 8 hours. Now Hunter and Cleo have one shot to stop the explosion, escape alive, and deal with the inconvenient fact that they're falling for each other. The clock is ticking. Then the next one is It's All in Your Head by Sabina Norquist. Your fake relationship shouldn't come with chronic feelings. Skylar is done with offline relationships, especially romantic ones. Living with chronic illness means she's heard it all. Unreliable, high maintenance, too much. She'd rather spend her free time in her online chronic pain support group, and lately she can't help but notice Pike, the hot new guy with a penchant for broody poetry. When a chaotic night in the group forces her to pose as his girlfriend, she reluctantly agrees to keep up the charade in real life. Surprisingly, he's thoughtful, sweet, and most importantly, doesn't flinch at the things that have scared others away. Fake dating gets a lot more complicated when she discovers Pike isn't just some guy. He's a professional snowboarder whose career-ending injury is as famous as his Playboy past. He won't talk about it though. He's fine, really, but pretending to be in love with Skylar turns out to be the least depressing thing he's done in months. As they spend more time together, she starts to notice the cracks in his carefully crafted image, and for once, he doesn't mind being seen. After all the bed sharing and late night talks, it becomes harder for both of them to pretend. But just as things start turning real, the paparazzi catch on, wanting the scoop on how everyone's favorite Olympic medalist is doing post-accident. Dating while disabled comes with challenges of its own, but public speculation and invasive questions are something else entirely. If their newfound feelings can't survive the spotlight, their not-so-fake relationship may be over before it ever truly begins. And then our last one on this date is To the Death by Andrea Tang. 18-year-old Samantha Chan only wants one thing: revenge for her brother's death in an illegal magical duel. Ever since that terrible day, she's been quietly working with legitimate dueling champion Lysander Rook and biding her time until she can take down her brother's killer, Matthias Blackwood. Tamsin Blackwood is trapped. She wants to make a name for herself in the magical dueling circuit, but she can't get away from the legacy of her father and coach, Matthias Blackwood. When she receives a challenge from the undefeated Lysander and his assistant Sam, she jumps at the chance to earn enough fame and glory to finally escape her father's influence. Tamsin has no idea about Sam's scheming, and Sam plans to keep it that way. Despite herself, though, she can't help liking Tamsin, and the two girls quickly grow closer to each other than anyone else in their lives. But Sam won't let anything get in the way of her revenge. Not even her heart. Then we are moving on to February 17th, where there is one book releasing. That is going to be Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett. Agnes Aubert leads a meticulously organized life, and she likes it that way. As the proudly Type A manager of a much-needed cat rescue charity, she has devoted her life to finding forever homes for lost cats. But after she is forced to move the cat shelter, Agnes learns that her new landlord is using her charity as a front for an internationally renowned and thoroughly disreputable magic shop. Owned by the disorganized, not to mention self-absorbed, irritating, but also decidedly handsome Havelock Renard, magician and failed Dark Lord, the shop draws magical clientele from around the world, partly due to the quality of Havelock's illicit goods, as well as their curiosity about his shadowy past and rumors of his incredible powers. Agnes's charity offers the perfect cover for illegal magics. Agnes couldn't care less about the shop, magical intrigue or not, there are cats to be rescued. But when an enemy from Havelock's past surfaces, the magic shop and more importantly the cat shelter are suddenly in jeopardy. To save the shelter, will Agnes have to set aside her social conscience and protect the man who once tried to bring about the apocalypse and is now trying to steal her heart? Then we're going to be moving to February 24th, which also has one book releasing this date. And that is going to be Amari and the Metalwork Menace by B.B. Alston. This is the 4th book in the Supernatural Investigation series. I've read the first 2, really enjoyed them. I have the 3rd one, but I'm also just very excited that this book is going to be coming out. This is middle grade fantasy, and it's basically like fantasy Men in Black, where there is this magical world that normal people don't know about. It is like hidden in the back of all this stuff, like the back of real life, and I really, really enjoyed it. Obviously, I'm not even going to read the summary for book 4 because I don't even know what happened in book 3, but I really like Amari. I love her and the friendships, and book 1 was her trying to figure out where her brother is because he went missing, and then there was like some magical trials and things, which I love. So, book 4 is coming out. Next, we're going to be moving into March. On March 3rd, there are 2 books releasing. The first is Strange Buildings by Uketsu. So this is a book that was originally written in Japanese. It has been translated to English. This is the 3rd book by this author. I read both Strange Pictures and Strange Houses last year, so I'm very intrigued by this one. It says, a lonely hut in the woods, a murder house, a hidden chamber, a mysterious shrine, a home in flames, a nightmarish prison. Each of the buildings in this book tells a chilling story. Each one is part of a puzzle. Look closely and you'll see that everything is connected, all leading to a revelation so horrifying you won't want to believe it. The next book releasing on this date is Mayhem and the Mortal by Shanora Williams. I've had this on pre-order since last year sometime. I am very much waiting for this to come out. Fantasy romance. And so, one mission, one curse, no escape. Zyra doesn't want a hero. She needs a weapon. To save her sister from a soul-devouring curse, she has to cross the Shallows, a nightmare landscape of ruined magic, shifting paths, and vicious creatures that eat people alive. Her guide? Thane Velcor, sorcerer, assassin, walking red flag. His name clears rooms. His magic kills quietly. And whatever he's really after, it's not salvation. He promises to help. He might even consider it. But Zyra knows better than to trust a liar with a blade and ice in his veins. She just doesn't have a choice. Then we're going to be moving on to March 12th. There is one book releasing this date, which is The Memory Bookshop by Song Yu Jung. So this is going to be translated from Korean. If you could relive the past with the time you have left, what would you choose? Jiwon's life has been slowly disintegrating since her mom died, until one day, caught in a downpour, Jiwon comes across a mysterious bookstore. Uneasy, she turns to leave when a voice calls, if you open that door, you can leave, but you can never come back here. The Memory Bookshop stores all of one's memories within an infinite number of books and appears to those who are looking for a reason to live. Its manager, Kay, offers visitors the chance to travel back 3 times in exchange for part of their futures. Browsing the shelves, Jiwon must choose whether to revisit 3 chapters of her life, but will changing the past really rewrite her future? Only the Memory Bookshop has the answers, and it'll teach Jiwon what it really means to live. And then finally, we have one book releasing on March 31st, and it is Hold Me Like a Grudge by Celine Ong. From dramatic character gimmicks to death-defying stunts, everything in the world of professional wrestling is an act. Asher Ross's hatred for Caleb Knight, however, is not. When Asher gets drafted to Global Elite Wrestling's main roster, playing the role of Caleb's worst enemy, the face to his heel, should be easy. Stripping him of his world championship title should be even easier, but as the 2 men trade barbs and blows across arenas, they're each surprised to find their chemistry is so sizzling. It can't just be for the cameras. Through training sessions, rehearsals, and injuries, Caleb's icy demeanor melts away, and Asher begins to see the real man behind the cruel persona GEW has molded Caleb into. An unlikely truce evolves into feelings neither want to deny, but the company won't let them be seen as anything other than bitter rivals, both in and out of the ring. As Asher and Caleb grapple with what they truly want in an industry with a history of denying queerness, their forbidden romance comes crashing down on them, and both men are forced to decide if their relationship is real enough to last and just how much they're willing to fight for it. I am in love with sports romances, and I have not seen a professional wrestling type of one. I do not like sports. I will put that out here right now. I do not like basically any sports, but there's something about the way that these ones are done, especially the queer ones, that I'm very much intrigued by. So even though I don't like wrestling, I want this one. And so that is the last book that I have on my list right now, coming out in the first 3 months of 2026. Again, if you guys have anything else that you think I missed, let me know. But yeah, that's what I have currently going on. And so if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So I will see you then. Bye.